Welcome back to The Whole Home. I am Kezia, and this is actually not my home, and I don't normally sit cross-legged on the sofa, but it's where we're going to chat today. We're going to chat about a brand I didn't expect to talk about again in 2024, and that is what was the California-based B Corporation Beautycounter. However you say it, this brand was kind of a pioneer in the clean, eco, ethical, sustainable beauty space for the US and Canada, and was very involved in a number of different things, from creating product to advocating for safer laws and things like that. And they've grown in real popularity, had grown, and then seemingly suddenly in the spring of 2024, they announced that they were closing their doors. And then this week, they are announcing that they are kind of coming back. So we're going to cover a little history of the brand, what went wrong, some of the controversy, what we know at this point, and what is coming up. If you're new here, I'm Kezia, and my goal with The Whole Home is to make lower footprint, sustainable living feel a bit less complicated and a bit more budget friendly. And wow, is finding great brands and knowing what is going on with them a key and sometimes complicated part of going on that journey of creating a more sustainable, lower footprint life. For context, we used to live in California. I used to live in England, then in California. Now we live back in England, but that has been my connection to this brand. When I was postpartum with my second child, I was like, shoot, I should be putting something different on my skin. This is so overwhelming. And I really didn't want to use Beautycounter. We'll talk about that because of their business model. It really put me off. But they had the best thing I could find in melding all my values of safer for my body and what I was putting on my skin while I was pregnant and breastfeeding, along with ethics that really very few people were talking about at that point, like where are all the ingredients sourced, and also caring for the environment at a more broad level than just paper packaging, which is super important. But anyway, so that is my connection with the brand in the context of being an affiliate for many, many different brands with this online space. I became one for Beautycounter as well, with great caution, and that's a whole other video. But anyway, when everything went down, I was already about to quit working for them, which gave me a bit of a different perspective. I also worked with them in the context of working with a lot of different brands, which also gave me a bit of a different perspective. There are many videos we could make to debrief this. But anyway, we're going to just talk about what happened and then what is coming up. If you want the deep dive into the week that they made this announcement, and then again, what on earth is going on 2 weeks later, I will link those other two. But let's dive in. For a quick history on the brand, Beautycounter was from the beginning a B Corporation. So this benefit corporation, it was started by a woman named Greg Renfrew in 2013 off the back of her watching Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth and wanting to bring some change through creating product differently. As a side note, I think brands in this day and age are one of the biggest educators of consumers at large. And I think it's actually a very powerful way of communicating and educating people on their impact to take a product, do it better, and then use it as a vehicle for bringing change, communicating and educating customers. So I love business done like that. And I think it's a very important tool in this era of the world. It was started in 2013 and chose to use both just an online sales model with a regular website, stores, and a body of independent consultants, which always gives a business an interesting flavor when they choose that business model. Some people love it, some people won't touch it. Everyone looks a little bit different in how they do it. The brand set out not just to create products, but with the goal of really bringing change to the beauty and cosmetics industry, pushing for legislation, and to bring wider change beyond just what their brand was doing. The company grew a ton from 2013, gained millions of customers, eventually $1 billion valuation. It was loved by celebrities, pro makeup artists on the red carpet, won many awards, and they did achieve their mission of changing the beauty industry, being a huge force behind a number of different pieces of legislation that brought safer regulation to the industry. But with growth comes different needs and change, and in 2021, along with that $1 billion valuation, Beautycounter acquired a major investment from the Carlyle Group, and this is where the story kind of began to change. The Carlyle Group is a private equity firm, and while that can offer great investment and help to businesses, their goal is to grow businesses and make more money. And it can bring a push for higher profits and make the changes needed to do that. Now, everyone was told when this happened that nothing would change, everything would stay the same. And what people were really worried about was the values, the ingredients, the ethics, the sustainability, the safety of the products. Would that change? And everyone was assured no. And these were the only things that people really knew to ask if they didn't have an understanding of what private equity can do in a business. Because it really did cause change, not in the quality of sourcing and the transparency on things and the certification and the B Corp part, and all of that kind of stayed the same. So on the surface, on some of the key points that people had made sure wouldn't change, nothing did change. But leadership changed, some of the goals and vision and ways that marketing was done, even they changed the target audience. A lot did change. Now, combine that with massive growth during the pandemic and then that kind of post-pandemic slump that so many businesses saw, the sales were just not there. So you've got this private equity firm that needs to see a return on its investment and wants to see it fast. Carlyle typically holds businesses for about 3 to 5 years, I think, sees the growth and then sells them on. Well, that growth was not happening thanks to many factors. Probably we can cite the pandemic, the economy, and also I would say the influence of the Carlyle group in the business, and maybe not understanding the business, its roots, anyway, somewhere in there, the sales were not happening. What this all led to was in the spring of 2024, Carlyle very suddenly saying, we are done, cutting its losses and turning the brand over to the bank, kind of foreclosure style. This is when the world found out very suddenly, Beautycounter is done. Now, the original founder, who had been removed as CEO during the time when Carlyle acquired the business, she didn't want to let the company die. And so she found her own funding and bought back the business in parts, which meant that from the outside, in this weird time in April, there was a business that closed and then a kind of, wait, hold on, we're going to keep it. It's going to come back, but it's going to look different. It'll take a couple of weeks. And everyone kind of held their breath for a few weeks. And then they realized, we're buying a business back in parts that's financially not in a good place. And it's going to take a little bit longer. So they then said Q4. So October, November, December, we'll see a comeback. Then a couple of months later, they said, if you were an independent consultant or a customer, go do something else. Don't wait for us. We don't want to be responsible for that. We're not going to be back till 2025. Where this kind of got odd and controversial in the mix was that all employees, in terms of HQ employees, store employees, everyone was let go overnight by the Carlyle group as they just closed down the business. So a lot of people were let go overnight. And because of the way it went down, they were not eligible for COBRA. And that is very, very hard to have that happen. That was not a good situation. Also, there were a number of independent consultants that got a weird email in the mix, and they were told, your contract has been terminated. Now, everyone's contract then got terminated. Everyone who got that email was told, you have in some way violated the terms of the contract that you have with Beautycounter as an independent consultant. So obviously this went down really badly with a lot of people going, I don't think I've done anything wrong. Why has my contract been terminated? We never really found out what this was about. It seemed like maybe a cleaning of shop before re-emerging as a new brand. What Beautycounter did say is that every one of those violation terminations would be reviewed individually, and that anyone who that happened to could plead their case and explain. But then when everything kind of came out that Carlyle had sold the business, Greg had bought it back in pieces, that kind of just was left as a big unknown. So that was some of the controversy around what happened, and also a lot of people feeling like, why weren't we told that this was happening? Now, this is kind of how it goes when this happens to businesses. Businesses don't say, we're struggling, we're doing really bad financially, and then, oh, we're going to have to sell. It's kind of something that happens behind closed doors. Now, we can have bigger conversations about whether that's ethical in business, but it's probably not actually that surprising that this was all kept quite quiet. So from April, it's kind of been quiet. at the beginning, they actually didn't have access to any products. So they had bought these different pieces of the business back, like the online platform, the product, but they couldn't access any of it because different money, legal pieces. They didn't actually have any product. So once they had acquired the product back, they did a couple of sales to their consultant body. This is their kind of affiliate independent sellers. They did a couple of sales for those. I did not participate in those because I'm in England and I can't actually get the product. I also didn't need anything. We don't buy what we don't need. So skip forward to October 2024, and they announced in an email to their prior consultant body that they are opening up a sale to the public for the first time since the company went down in April. So let's talk about this, what we know, what we don't know, and what is happening. Well, Q4 has always been one of the biggest selling times of the year. A huge percentage of sales are done in Q4. Everyone's shopping, so it makes sense in my mind that they would do a sale, open it back up to generate some cash, probably to sell off some inventory, get a cash injection ahead of bringing the business back, but also help people restock and keep people waiting for the brand. It makes sense that they would do it now. Here is what we know. It is starting on November 1st, and they are saying it is going to be open to the entire G2G community. G2G is Beautycounter, the brand, used to be owned by Counter Brands LLC. That was the body that owned Beautycounter. Now, Beautycounter is being put together again under the brand G2G. So when you see that name, that's what it is. In terms of income generating opportunity, they are offering their prior consultants, so no one new, but their prior consultants, just an affiliate model, which I love. I think this is so much better than the direct sales model, just an affiliate model, the same way as Amazon, Nordstrom, Sephora, any place you shop basically has an affiliate model, and they are coming back just with that. So this may be teeing people up to join something again next year, to be affiliates next year. We don't know what's going to come. So, details of the sale. They have not said how long it's going to go for, but my speculation is we're going to see about a month-long sale because it starts on November 1st. Now, they're not going to start on November 1st and then not capitalize on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Another clue that it's going to go a while is that they've said we're going to see multiple offers through the sale. Product discounts, gift with purchase, and free shipping offers. And they've kind of separated these out. So I am guessing that we will see something for Black Friday, something different for Cyber Monday, maybe something when it first comes back. I don't know, but I think this gives the idea that we're going to see something that goes on for a while. What this also tells us is that while it's being called the big in-between sale, in between dying and coming back, the big in-between, that it's not going to be a sale the entire time. It's sale in that it is for sale, but it is not a discount sale the whole time because we're going to see offers throughout this sales period. So I think we're going to see products at a regular price and then discounted for certain times. I will break it down when we actually see it happen. In terms of stock, we also don't know where they're at stock-wise. But I think we can look back at these couple of consultant sales that have happened in this in-between time. Pretty much everything was there. I didn't shop, but I kind of had a look at what was there. Everything was there. They have a lot of sunscreen. They brought in new sunscreen. They brought in new fragrance, which I'm actually wearing, and I do really love it. They brought in a lot of sunscreen and a lot of fragrance right before closing, and especially the sunscreen, it has that expiration date on it. So I am guessing we will see some kind of buy one, get one on sunscreen because that would make sense if we're in their position, you know? But pretty much everything was in stock. We also don't know if it will be final sale or there will be the ability for returns. So there's a lot that we don't know, but this is what we do know. It's coming back November 1st, so stay tuned on that. And then what do we know about it coming back? Basically nothing more. We know it's coming back. We know there will be an earning opportunity. We know they will have some of the same products. And that's really all that they have let on. Aside from that, it will come back with the same values, vision, mission. That's key to the brand. That will never go away. And that is kind of all we know. So my own personal take on, would I shop it again? Would I work with them again? Would I shop this sale? I knew I wasn't going to work with them again. My residency is ending this year. And I knew however they come back in 2025, I am not going to work with them. This was already my plan. I loved what I learned in working with a B corporation, a female-founded business, a mission-driven business. I learned a lot. It also fascinated me to learn about this weird direct sales model and see it from a personal perspective. The pros, the cons, the weird parts, the strange parts of the direct sales industry as a community of people and how people make that their career, which it wasn't for me. And so therefore, and people left Beautycounter and just went to another direct sales business because working in direct sales was their career. And I didn't really realize that this was a career path for people. Anyway, we can make another video on that if it's interesting to people and what I learned in working in that industry, but feeling peripheral and different to it. Anyway, I will not be working with them when they do come back. Would I shop again when they come back? The answer here is actually yes. While I won't work with them again, there are some products that they do that if someone is coming from America, I will 100% have them bring me. For me, even in coming to the UK when we did, there hasn't been a brand, especially for makeup, that rivals what Beautycounter have done in balancing ingredient safety, third-party testing, very, very stringent regulations there, alongside ethics on sourcing, traceable products, being very, very careful about where things come from, and being very, very careful about their impact at different scopes. So not just paper packaging and reusable packaging, but also factory emissions and transport emissions and all of those things like that, kind of being more widely careful about sustainability and environmental impact. I did put together a list of all of the alternatives I would use from brands that I love and think are most comparable to Beautycounter in terms of not just working, but ethics and ingredient safety and things like that. And I'll link that full list below. But I do still love the brand. I do still love their values and ethics and all of those things that haven't changed. And all of the product they're selling off was created with their B Corp status, which we don't know if they'll have as they come back. They may have to recertify for that, but all of this was created under those very, very stringent guidelines and certifications and commitments. So that is what we know at this point. I hope it's a helpful update to kind of know what happened, what's going on, what's coming, what's here for November, what we think we're going to see. Hopefully it can help you navigate this a bit more easily, because shopping sustainable, ethical, lower footprint products should not be so complicated, and it is, and I hate that, and I want to keep it as simple as I can. So this is my attempt to break it down and do that. I will keep doing it as their sale goes live. We will do more of what we've actually got and what is going on. It has been a roller coaster ride, from the highs of pandemic sales to a business not doing so well, to the Carlisle sale, the buyback, the silence, the disappearing, and now it's back. So we will keep following the story, but that is where we are at for today. If you want to go back and watch the original video with what happened and what went down at the very beginning, you can watch that here. And then in trying to find replacement products, I did try out Dime, and you can see that review here with what I thought, depending on where you are in the world, and which of their products I would and wouldn't choose. You can see that video here. We will keep following this story, but hit subscribe, and I will see you in another video sometime soon. Thanks for joining.